There is a couple of places I think are important for drum and bass. Lakota being one of them. Like Volks in Brighton is another place. They've got the RC1 sound. They've got part of an RC1 sound system down there. The place sounds amazing. Constant drum and bass events down there. Leveler with his multifunction nights. Amazing stuff. Just like these little cornerstones for drum and bass. I feel like the little venues, they just hold such an important place for drum and bass. Anybody out there who's putting a drum and bass event on in a small venue, big love to you, because that is ultimately the crux of our scene.
Hi guys, welcome back to a Ravers Guy podcast. We will give you all the inside info on the music scene today. I'm joined with one of our biggest guests so far, in my opinion. I'm here with Upgrade. How you doing today, man?
Hello. How you doing, Owen? You good?
I'm good. It's great to have you down, man.
Thank you so much for having me down. I appreciate it.
Good. So basically, I want to start just talk about drum and bass in general. Just say, how did you get into the scene and everything?
It's really interesting, man. A lot of it was influenced from my older brothers and stuff. People I was hanging around with at the time. I was that kid in school that had a weird taste in music. Nobody really liked it. And then, what do you know? When you get into high school and everything, people start listening to it. And then before you know it, I just really got into the music. It was just something I loved. But definitely more of an influence from my older brother through like tape packs and things like that.
What music did he like?
So it was a weird one. A lot of it was like Scouse House and donk music, believe it or not. But of course, it was drum and bass as well. So it was hardcore. Like I grew up with hardcore. Was surrounded by that a lot, you know. And the drum and bass tapes were the ones that I liked. So everybody was really into hardcore at that time. And I think I had a little passion for the both of them. They were really fast, energetic types of music. You know, I think one of the first tape packs I had was either a Helter Skelter or yeah, I think it was a Helter Skelter. And it's just, you know, that was how we heard it back then, I guess.
Yeah, so who would you say were like your inspirations? Like, what like when you first listened to drum and bass, obviously for your brother, but what first artist did you hear and you was like, yes, this is what I want to do?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I was buying vinyl, I was learning about artists more. So before then, drum and bass was kind of like this just fantastic adventure you could go on, I guess. But then once I started to get into buying vinyl and stuff, I started learning who the artists were and what they were doing. I would say definitely Clips is up there. TC's up there as well. I think at the time, Congo Natty, some of the jungle stuff, Benny Page, they were definitely influences for me as well.
Have you always liked jungle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think some of the first events I used to play at were jungle events. So Jacob Oblivion, big ups. So the event was at a club called Hideout in Norwich, and it was an event called Bass Jam. And he took that brand around for a little while, and wow, we had so much fun with it. We were doing festivals, little club shows and stuff. And I got to meet a lot of the more jungle-based artists through that. Including Serial Killers, who basically...
Big name, yeah.
Yeah, man, they basically helped me launch my career when I first started. They were the ones releasing the music for me. I think Heist was a big inspiration around about that sort of time too. Magistrate. There's so many. Like,
yeah, some big names.
I'm trying to remember, like, flicking through my vinyls when I was younger. Like, who was I buying? Like, and I'm sure there's more people I haven't mentioned there. But
so one question I got asked personally: what do you think the state of jungle is from back then compared to now?
Do you
think it's still popping as much as it used to be, or do you think like?
Oh man, jungle will always rock in the underground. You can't. There's whether we like it or not. There is going to be people listening to jungle and playing jungle tunes. Yeah, it's amazing.
I just feel like with this new type of ravers coming out, it's just jump up, jump up, jump up.
I think maybe because of the free party scene. I came up a lot through the free party scene, and you know, people just putting sound systems in woods and stuff, and that was a lot of my
cool. Very cool. Yeah,
man.
Very cool.
It's really cool, but it's one of those things. Like I used to like going to the raves and doing things like that, but I started to do a few things for different people in the free party scene. Hold Tight Seb Pipe from Shakedown Audio and Bedwell. It was Seb that was booking me first off, and he heard about my tunes on Serial Killers at the time. So I was getting a weird pull from the jungle crowd, but they knew I played Jump Up, so it was almost like, I don't know, it was like a crossover between jungle and jump up in the inception, in the first sort of wave of Upgrade, and then it sort of changed over time.
So I want to move away from that and just talk about, you had a recent tour in Japan, which you were telling me about over Instagram DMs. Just want to know, how was that? How was it to tour in a place like Japan? Like, must have been mental.
So I've always wanted to go to Japan. It's just one of those places. I think 100%. ever since I was little, I was like, that sort of culture shock is like, I just think it's important to get them opportunities sometimes, because I don't think people understand how the world is big, man. There's a lot of places to go. And I feel like everywhere I've been, I've learned an influence from that, or I've had influence from, you know, how they live and how they talk to each other and stuff. And everywhere's different. I have a great time. Japan, especially though, it's an interesting place to go because it's not a place people get to go often. You don't
Yeah,
hear about
100%.
many DJs going there, and if they do, I can almost guarantee they don't post the shows. So it's a weird one. It's like we had a wicked time there. I really enjoyed it. Both shows were really good. I did a small one in Osaka, and I did
Oh, wow.
another one in Tokyo.
Mm.
Big up Sacco and the Mandem for booking me for that, and also hang tight the Warped Up Records crew. Sorry, I'm trying to remember everyone's name, and it's so difficult. But I had a wicked time with those guys. Got to see the real side of Japan. It was amazing.
So what was the venue like, which you
Man,
performed in? Like, is it
yeah.
completely different to UK rave venues?
You'd think it was. It was interesting. The first one they did kind of like a 360 because you got to remember drum and bass is still like, especially jump up and stuff. Jungle's bigger in Japan, I think, than jump up. Right? At one point, jungle was in their charts. So their influences are like predominantly jungle. They had a song that sounds like General Levy's Wicked.
Okay.
I think it's called War Tonight.
Yeah.
I think it's called that. But you can hear the influence from jungle in Japanese music there, and they run with it. It's they've got new people trying to put on new events there. A lot of the dubstep goes down really well over there as well. Circus is definitely the spot for it though. What an amazing place. So it was a very intimate event, the first one, and it was good. Like, it was definitely a crowd there. It was still fun. There was videos of it up and stuff. Really enjoyed myself, but definitely a more intimate affair with the decks in the middle of the room and everybody sort of surrounding and watching you play and stuff. Man, we had a wicked time. Really good fun. Got incredibly drunk afterwards. I think
Oh, even better then.
got in about 7 o'clock, mate, and we had to get the train from Osaka to Tokyo the very next day, the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train. Man, that was so much fun. What an experience. But I was absolutely
100%.
trying not to spew up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every day a DJ gets to go to Japan. Like, you hear about Australia, like New Zealand, and them type of place, but never Japan. So,
well, doing 2 shows there was definitely the way to go about it. The second show was probably a bit more busy than the first one, being that it was in the center. It was in Tokyo.
Yeah. Last question, just on that subject. How would you compare the Japanese crowds to the UK crowds?
Oh, man.
Is the energy the same, or is it a bit different?
No, because you got to remember this. We've adopted a culture of like drop raving here. I think where the drop is the serotonin point. The drop is like the dopamine hit, right? Which is great. I don't mind it. It's not necessarily my style of DJing, or not consistently through the set anyway. They dance because to them it's just, I guess it's just music. There's no sort of influence from like, their influences are limited, right? So their culture towards raving is more go crazy for the set. Do you know what I'm saying? So they dance to everything. It's really cool like that.
Okay. So, bringing it back onto the sets which you've done, how did you start getting your opportunity to play at the big events? Obviously, you said you played at a few jungle events, like, and Serial Killers helped you
Yeah,
get out there a bit more.
It was through more of the serious releases I did. So stuff with UKF, I released a tune called Popular via UKF, and that definitely was a big turning point for my career because I think it knocked Dimension off the #1 spot at that time. So
That's big.
I got a DM off him.
Oh, wow.
Have that tune, mate. Yeah, I get along with him. He's all right. I've kind of met him at different shows and stuff in the past and that. So to have that opportunity to be like, look, there's my tune with yours, it was cool. I reckon as well, yeah, definitely at that time, I think it was more about the placements you got on labels, like which labels you were on really mattered to how almost felt like how seriously they were taking you as an artist. Whereas nowadays, I don't think it's that at all.
Yeah. So, when was like the point in your career where you knew like you could just do music full time and you were like, yeah, I'm going to bang this, I'm going to keep to this?
When I signed on to the agency, I think they had work coming in for me from the jump, really. It was good. So, and at that time, I was kind of on my first come up. So it was like, I got to do all this crazy stuff I'd never done before. And then eventually, as I kept consistently releasing the music I was releasing, built up almost a I think at that time I built up like a if Upgrade's on the rave is good. You know, if Upgrade's on the rave, that's going to be fine. And that was what really, I think I've been recognized for the work that I put into doing stuff like that. Particularly production and DJing. They're just 2 things I really love. Like, and it's an honest thing. But to make a career out of them is like, man, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. And I want to go for another 10 years.
Discussing upstairs, like, it's nice that you don't just do it for like bad reasons, do it for the good reasons. Like, you do it for yourself, you do it because you love the music, you do it because you just
before there wasn't clout to do it for. So drum and bass wasn't really in them circles of like clout. like
Mm.
10,000 followers on Instagram was considered a huge account,
Mm.
you know, and now it's I feel like it's turned more into the visual aspect of it in some circles. It's become about, you know, how it looks rather than how it sounds.
Mm.
But there is still a thriving underground of people that love the music for what it is. And
Mm.
to be honest, that's the people I'm interested in, because they were the people I was trying to impress from the start.
Yeah, yeah.
So if they understand that and they get what I'm trying to do, that is the gratification for me, you know. But yeah.
So on the topic of sets and mixes, you've just done a mix for Radio 1. Just want to get a bit more info about. Are you excited that it's coming out?
Yeah, man. So the Radio 1 thing came about through DMB Allstars. They currently got a residency on Radio 1
That's
Dance.
quite cool, yeah.
So yeah, they put my mix up, and yeah, I think it's gone out last night. So I'm interested to get it out and hear what people think about it, to tell you the truth. I'm still trying to find out what people think. I don't know yet.
Yeah,
So,
you're confident with it?
yeah, man, I love doing the mixes, especially considering it's an offshoot of the ADHD mixes I do, which is like a 20 minutes, just flat out dubs. And then, you know, and it's nice to be able to do that once in a while. I don't mix like that live because I feel like you don't need to stick 32 tunes in 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's a bit extreme. But for that particular thing, I feel like it fits its purpose really well, and I love doing it.
Yeah, 100%. So, staying on the topic of DMB Allstars, you recently performed at DMB Allstars Festival. You was with TNA and Amplify.
Oh yeah, the boys.
Yeah, how was that?
The
'Cause
boys.
Some big names there for sure.
Boys. Yeah, so TNA and those boys I have a long history with. Azza and Grimer, I've worked with since before I was even known in drum and bass, really. I was recording them at the studio. So you remember that song, I'm the Damn Guy?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did all of the recording for the vocals for that.
Oh, wow.
For Azza and Grimer's bit, plus all the placements, effects, and mixing and stuff. So yeah, I've got a history with those boys, man, and I love what they've done. I did a tune with Grimer as well, for his sister, God rest her soul, and I think that was a beautiful moment as well. I really liked that song. I really like what he done with it. Like,
Yeah,
really heartfelt song. Recommend going and listening to it if you can find it. It's great.
100%. So, how is it playing with Amplify as well?
Oh yeah, he's the boy, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's interesting getting into seeing how you know, necessarily recent. Okay, so it's interesting to see how recent people who have developed recently mix and how they present their music to, say, someone like New Elements, who's DJ'd longer than me even. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's a real cross of styles between the three of us. It's great. I think it's different areas of jump up in each of us. So yeah.
Yeah, so again, staying on that topic, you've just had a new EP come out. Can you tell me and the viewers just a bit more about that? About how you made it and everything?
Oh yeah, the new EP is pretty interesting. It's not the normal so I need people to understand something. I make a terrible lot of racket, and I absolutely love it, but I also like the musical elements for stuff. A lot of my background was I was in bands. I was in a band. The drummer was actually Ray Keefe's drummer for his band.
Oh, wow.
And I worked in the studio with him
Oh,
at the
wow.
time. So, you know, the influence there was from playing a lot of instruments and things like that. I really want to incorporate that into drum and bass. Now, we have that with Liquid, but I like Liquid, I love it, and I like Jump Up too. So trying to blend the best bits of those two together and create a unique listening experience for people. I had someone ask me what I wanted to call the style of music, and I would say it's Liquid. But I definitely think it has that jump up edge to it as well.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit.
It's your own sound.
It's a little bit, yeah.
It's cool, yeah.
And that's something I think is super important. Like, is being able to have an identifiable sound. Like, that's upgrade, you know. And using the vocals more prominently on the track as well is definitely something I've wanted to do for a long while, because I've done it since I started. But I think it's time to, like, you know, lean into it and let people know that, yes, this is me, this is how I sound, this is how I sing, and hope people enjoy the content that I come in with.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people, they don't know that's your vocals,
No,
which
yeah.
I'm quite shocked about.
Oh yeah,
it's very cool though.
Yeah, I try and tell people all the time, like, yeah, was that you on Won't Hold Back? And all the, is it? Yeah, they're all me. Every song is basically me. Unless there's an obvious sample in it, every song I've ever done has just been my voice for singing. Some of the synths were done with my voice. Total Carnage, that whole synth line is done with my voice. And it was a thing when I released it at the time that people really liked about it. So.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the EP so special, because it's your own vocals, it's your own sounds you've done.
Yeah, I think I was trying to. I think for me, the idea of that EP is to just connect to doing something more musical and to break up the noise that was coming out at the moment. At the minute, there's an onslaught of impact music, which I love. I got no trouble. I love impact music, like I've made it all my life, but there's a gap in the market for more listenable music, like stuff you can drive home to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
stuff you
100%.
can put on at 4 o'clock in the morning and vibe to, and just generally get a feeling for. Music is feelings based. I feel like it's feelings based. A lot of stuff you listen to gives you a reaction,
Mm.
and yeah, the deepest kind of cuts and that reaction for me is a very special one because they're songs that you hold on to. They're songs that you don't, you listen to in your own private time. And I was kind of, I was trying to attack that angle with it, I think. And yeah, I'm really happy with how the project came out, definitely.
Yeah. So staying on the topic of record labels, can you tell me some more info on your own record label?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
First
First Request Records.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that came about, me and my mate Reese. We decided that we wanted to start a label up and start a sound system up.
How long ago was this?
Oh, maybe about 2 years during lockdown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, during lockdown. So I had to keep myself busy. And one of the main things I wanted to do was I've been around sound systems all my life. So when I first started going out DJing and all the rest of that, a lot of the way. So Hang Tight Sam Seekins, I don't know if I should use his full government name, but Hang Tight Sam, you're the man. And Mike as well, Mike Fisher from PBS Audio back in the day. I used to go in the club because I was 17 at the time. So I used to go in the club with them, help them set up the rig, and then do my set. So like it was a way for me to get in the club and do that.
Yeah.
And circumvent the process a bit, because I was being booked, but it was early slots, and I learned a lot about the sound systems and stuff running with those guys for a little while. It was one of my favorite things to do for a bit, was just go and see the sound systems. So doing it for myself, man, that was a big goal. I was really, I was chuffed to bits with it. The label itself was done with, the label myself was done with my friend Reese Ketley. And the label name First Request Records came from the fact that he used to do pirate radio in East London.
Oh, wow. Okay,
and he was the guy climbing up and putting antennas on towers.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And the first request is the first request. So you get a text line.
That's quite a unique way for the name, yeah.
First Request Records.
100%. So moving away from it, a lot of the fan favourites is your Snapchat.
Oh, yeah.
You've got one of the funniest Snapchats in the game.
Yeah.
Do you think you've got one of the best in the scene? Because I think fans would say so.
So it's an interesting one. Like, I've always been quite a goofy guy on the net. I just enjoy it. Like, I don't take it so seriously. Like, I just think it's funny. The only thing is platforms got very strict, and I've got a big mouth. So it was got to the point where I was doing it on Instagram, and I had to move away from doing it on Instagram because I was getting warnings and stuff. And we all know how that game goes. And Snap just seemed like the next option where I could do what I like, and I wouldn't have to really worry about the consequences of it. I could just post anything, and it'd just be fun. But I like the fact that people like the Snap. If you want to go at it, it's upgrade DMB. Upgrade DNB. But it's been really interesting. Now it's almost as powerful as my Instagram.
Yeah, we're talking about this. It's quite bad.
Because I kind of missed the TikTok circuit. I didn't miss it. I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I'm gonna say it how I said it upstairs. Actually, I got to the point where I just didn't want to shake my ass on TikTok. 30 years old, man. I was like, and no disrespect to people that do it, but I found it conflicting in myself to fake reactions to things in order to get people to listen to it. And I find that really, like, if I'm feeling it at the time and that's how I react, that's how I react. That's why I like Snap. It's very much in the moment.
Yeah.
I didn't like the idea of having to plan videos.
Yeah, everyone's got their own way of promoting stuff.
Sure.
Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. Yours is definitely Snapchat, like you said.
Well, I mean, I don't want it to be.
Yeah. It just happens.
It's just happens.
I feel like with those type of things, you drift into it.
Yeah, you
100%.
do. And I think one of the best things of it, the best thing about Snapchat is there's a clear divide in the generations on that app. So if you're on TikTok and you're that kind of younger generation, you're almost definitely using Snap. Whereas if you're my age and you're using Snap, people are like, oh, you still use Snap? So there's that clear divide between two generations right there.
100%,
and I feel like I've managed to access the TikTok generation through Snapchat rather than having to actively be on TikTok myself. I'm definitely going to lean into TikTok a little bit more, just for the fun of it.
Maybe just get someone to run the account for you, even easier.
But I could provide the content to it and still do bits for it, But I'll lean into it. I'm definitely going to do more with it. But
I think a really funny thing for you to do would be like a day in the life of Upgrade. I think it's Snap.
Well, I did get a few messages of people saying, why don't you just upload the entire story to Snap? Like every time you do something like that and it gets good response, why don't you just post that? And I probably could do that. But then again, I feel like it's good for the people there to just see it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's closed off. It's a circle.
Audience.
It's a circle. Do you know what I'm saying? And everybody who knows me on there, there's one thing I got to say about it as well. Don't in your life take me too seriously on that app. Like, I'm just having fun on there.
Yeah.
Like, this is where I want to do, like, it allows me to do the silly stuff I was doing before without it risking, you know, putting other things under.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So moving back onto the sets now. First place, which was booked outside the UK, was Belgium.
No.
If it wasn't.
Nope.
Where was it?
No. Actually, I got a big up coda from Switch in Austria.
Austria.
So me, my little brother, DJ Limited, and Ti were booked to play in Austria. And that is one of the probably most, I don't know if you've got a question in there saying like, oh, what's the most interesting or what's the funniest thing you've ever had happen at a show?
That is right.
It was that one.
Go on, give us an explanation.
So weird. Ti got a flag. Ti got a flag flicked at him.
Oh.
Ti got a cigarette flicked at him, and I fucking had a dildo waved at me from the audience. It was very strange. It was Camera Club in Vienna. If you remember that, it's not there anymore. I don't know if it's opened again, but it might be shut now. But yeah, that was 2013 maybe or 14, and I think I did Belgium as well at that time. So. It's a gamble up between one of those. You might be right, actually, now I think about it.
Because I'm pretty sure it was Belgium.
Yeah, a place called Jungle is, the event was called Jungle is Massive, I think, in Belgium. I don't know.
Okay, so on the topic of Belgium, how was Belgium?
Oh, man, the Belgian scene back then to now has been a really interesting development. So this is something me and my little brother have talked about, and it's a bit in depth, so you'll have to try and follow it. But in Belgium, I felt like we had, at the start, people were just it was just drum and bass. You could literally go over there and play most of anything and they'd love it. Then obviously the drop culture come to drum and bass. The drop culture came to Belgium, sorry. And they got heavily into the big build-ups and the big drops, pushed by people like HeadX, myself at the time, and, you know, loads of other people who were on the Belgian circuit at that time. And we had something weird happen in Belgium, which is where it became something the DJs were talking about amongst each other called like the 20-second rule or the 10-second rule, where they would go crazy for a drop for 10 seconds and then stand still and talk to each other. And I feel like this is one of the problems in some places we've got in England now, where it's like everyone's just waiting for the big drops.
Yeah.
And the rest of the tunes kind of be like, wow, just like that. And then it's whatever. But Belgium has had an injection of UK culture through people like Bass Tripper. And now it's a different thing. There's one thing, big up Bass Tripper, by the way. He's a great guy. I've always got along with him, and, you know.
Got some sick tunes.
Oh, mate, amazing. I was backing him from as early as I can remember, really, for drum and bass. It's used to see him at the raves in Belgium and stuff as well, so it was always good, you know. But people like him gave an injection of the UK sound to Belgium, and I feel like that may have affected the way it is a little bit now, because now it seems to be more consistently dancing. Like, it's kind of switched. Like, the UK is sort of like Belgium now. And
I mean, Belgium's starting to make its way over. Yeah,
they still do all the crazy laser stuff, but it's no longer that. From what I've seen in Belgium, it's not as much of that big 10-second reaction. So they actually vibe through stuff now, which is I love that about. I'll always love Belgium. I really,
I mean,
you know,
the crowds are nuts as well.
I really learned my craft in Belgium, and like, and those guys have always been so accepting of everything I've been doing over there, and. Man, just nothing but love to him, honestly. I hope I can still keep going out there.
Staying on the topic of countries, you was at DMB Allstars, Portugal.
Hell yeah.
How was the crowd for that? Because it looked very intimate, very cool. It looked like everyone knew every single tune was going off. Everyone was popping, like, it was sick.
Trust me, DMB Allstars Portugal is one of the best drum and bass holidays I think I've ever done. That's over, like, my whole career.
That's pretty big then,
I had a really good time. And they looked after us as well. We got to meet a lot of the team as well. You know, a lot of the team that work for DMB Allstars are drum and bass lovers through and through. And I absolutely love that about that. You know, they're people that love the industry and want to see music do well in it. And that's part of it. You know, that Portugal show goes to show everything you need to do. I did a set with Fat Man D. Big ups Fat Man. We did quite an early set though. I think it was on the Saturday. I think it was like 1 till 2 or 2 till 3, something like that. Bit too early really for the stuff I was playing, but yeah, we worked it out. We had a crowd in the end. Toxinate and Latte were on after us, so kind of brought the energy up for them. It was good.
No, that's good. We've got Fat Man D coming down soon, so
wicked.
I'm guarantee that'll come up.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked mental there.
It was fat. Yeah, it really was. Started out, it's because we were kind of kicking it off there. So it was like, we were like the first set of the day sort of coming through, and then it was all building up after that. But wicked experience.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I played Mosey's Boat as well.
Yeah.
That was
Oh
wicked.
yeah, how was
Big
that?
up Mosey, man. Thank you very much for having me on that. Appreciate that. That was good. Yeah. I had a really
Is
good
that the
time.
first time you ever done anything like that on a boat?
No, I've done boat parties before.
Have you?
Wicked, yeah.
That must be
I
sick.
used to do one for I did one for Innovation in Amsterdam once. That was really cool.
Oh wow, in
Yeah.
Amsterdam as well.
Oh, that was cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah, man.
So looking back at like your career over the years, is there anything you wish you did differently, or are you just happy of how it all just flowed?
I think within my career, I've struggled with a lot of personal things, which have definitely affected the route I've gone with stuff. And not everything is easy 100% of the time for anybody. Like it's just impossible. It's not, doesn't happen like that. I feel like there was definitely a few years where I was up and down and didn't really know what I wanted to do or know which direction I wanted to go. I wasn't comfortable with the music I'm making, or I felt like I was competing with other people like all the time. And they're unhealthy mentalities that I think most artists go through at some point. But I think as I kept going on, I reached a point where I just decided that ultimately I'm doing this for me in the long run. I wish I would have focused more on like actually just doing it and being in the moment with it for a lot of what I've done. Because a lot of it was like, okay, what's the next step? And when, it does feel like sometimes once you take your foot off the gas, you just fall back.
Yeah.
It's very true nowadays. If you take your foot off the gas, you're just going to go nowhere with it. Like, you have to keep it on all the time. And it is difficult in that thing. But I think one of the best things I did for my career was decide that I was doing it for me in the long run anyway, and for the people that enjoyed it. Those particular people, the ones that like it, the ones that want to support it and share it, they are the ones I make the music for.
So have you got any events which you want to plug, any upcoming?
Absolutely, man. I'm doing a back-to-back with Gino at Document in Bristol for Halloween for DMB Allstars. And another one of those is the Warehouse Project in Manchester. That's coming up with DMB Allstars as well, which is fantastic. I'm going to Belgium for Logan D's 25 years, is it?
Mental, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to Belgium for Logan's 25 years. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever been Warehouse Project before?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I've played it a couple of times. Yeah, it's cool, man. I did Concourse, I think, 2 or 3 times now. So wicked place to play. Love it. Manchester's a spot to play.
I mean, yeah, just some little events coming up there.
Yeah,
It's not like a mere one. They're all sick.
Mate, they've got stuff coming out of Manchester. I don't know what's in the water up there, but it just seems to be really working up there for drum and bass. It's cool.
Can't wait to see what happens.
Love it,
It's
man.
gonna be sick. So on the subject of DJing, what's one tip you want to give to people just starting out, learning how to DJ?
Oh, learn your tunes.
Yeah.
Listen to your tunes, learn them, learn how they sound, figure out where bits are, you know. It all makes for a better DJ, an easier DJing experience for you. Learning your music is one of the most important things. You buy a song, listen to it.
Yeah.
That's literally listen to the whole thing.
Nice.
You know,
good point, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Learn your music. I believe it'll make your whole experience easier.
So as we were just talking about venues, do you have like a favourite venue you've played over the years?
I was speaking with my little brother about this on the way down here, and there is a couple of places I think are important for drum and bass. Lakota being one of them. So favourite venue isn't really isn't my favourite venue. I think they're just more iconic standout venues for drum and bass. Like Lakota, I think is an important venue for drum and bass because they've always supported it. You got to remember, some places, whether people like going to them or not, they are like a crucial part of what make, like Volks in Brighton is another place. They've got the RC1 sound. They've got part of an RC1 sound system down there. The place sounds amazing. Constant drum and bass events down there. Leveler with his multifunction nights. Amazing stuff. Just like these little cornerstones for drum and bass in terms of clubs, you know?
Yeah.
Because now these are all really big shows. We can all see the dominance of, like, you know, big massive shows with like 80 artists on and all the rest of this.
But the little venues,
I feel like the little venues, they just hold such an important place for drum and bass. Anybody out there who's putting a drum and bass event on in a small venue, big love to you, because that is ultimately the crux of our scene. It's where it started. It's where it's at. So, well, it's ultimately how our scene developed, was from these small clubs and everything.
Yeah,
and to these shows you see now, you know.
We've got to make sure we're keeping that as well. Well, we're having the big ones coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that we need to have a really honest conversation with venues and stuff and work out what exactly is going on and what exactly is the problem. I mean, I'm sure loads of people have loads of solutions to it. I don't have any solutions to it. I'm just going to say that honestly. And all I can talk from is experience going to these venues and playing and whatnot. But yeah, I think it needs to be like certain rules, sound system restrictions. You You know, there's nothing worse. You can put a drum and bass event on in a normal club, but it's going to sound shit.
Yeah, it's not going to sound
and
good
it's
at all.
not like there has to be some kind of sound system in the venue. Like, and I think this is a lot of problem for clubs as well. Like, how you can't drum and bass that isn't meant for like just
No, yeah,
PA
this is a good
speakers.
thing.
You know what I mean?
You've
Like,
got like all these
you're meant to
clubs,
feel it. You're
all
meant
these
to
clubs
feel
that
it.
close it
Yeah.
because they can only do club stuff in there, like
And you
hats
know-
and stuff like that. You need a venue which is going to be open to all different types of music with
We
sound
all
system.
hate to admit it, but we know when we go into a drum and bass event and it's the house system, it sounds like shit.
Mm,
We just don't.
yeah,
We have to
exactly,
be
that's the
honest
thing,
about
yeah.
it. Like, but if it's the only option, then we need to find some way to kind of work it in so we
Tackle
can
it,
get sound systems in there, and that culture to me is really important in drum and
Mm.
bass. And I don't think it's overlooked. I think, you know, we get a lot of sound systems in events, you know, big up Electrical, Scotland Yard, they're good as well.
mental.
You know, Valve as well. Valve is back out and about.
Mm.
Even our very own First Request sound system, which I promise we'll be getting out next year. We've been working on the year for tuning it and making it sound good and stuff. And
Looks mental.
oh, we've had so much fun with it. It's been a personal project between me and my pals. We kind of we treat it like taking out the motorbikes. You
Yeah.
know? Like taking out the crosses with the boys. We'll take the sound system out this weekend, you know?
Mm.
And we've had great fun with it. It's been a real like influence to
Yeah.
having the sound system has been a real influence to the music I make, I
Mm.
think. And I just love it. I think it's like a real integral part of the label. Like, I don't think it
Yeah.
could exist without it now.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people can really flex that they've built their own sound system. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, and we went into
I've not
depth
heard of
with
that
it.
before,
We went into
never.
Hang Tight Shakedown Audio, down to the design of the speakers. Like,
Mm.
we really did go hard on it. Some of the parts are custom built. We've built them
Mm.
at home, like me and Reese together.
That's just impressive. Yeah.
Oh man, it's cool. I've always been into the way sound works, especially the technicalities of it. Like,
Mm.
and this is something about me. I feel like I'm a producer before a DJ, but I think a lot of people know me for DJing as well. So it's like, it depends where you pick me up, I guess.
So recognition being like such a big thing and like the scene now, is there like someone who you like to shout out is just smashing it in a minute and it's like the viewers should like go check them out?
Absolutely, absolutely. So obviously we've talked about this sort of we'd had a previous conversation about the sort of amnesia of the scene in drum and bass, where like
Yeah.
it seems like anything before lockdown just didn't fucking matter anymore.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's-
completely changed.
It's difficult because, you know, especially when you've cut your teeth doing that sort of them years where you've been coming up and doing and smashing it and all the rest of this, and then lockdown, it completely changes. And I reckon now there is still a lot of producers coming out of it that are wicked. I'd like to big up Toxinating and Latte. They're wicked boys.
Oh man, yeah,
They've done
smashing it,
amazing
isn't it?
stuff.
Yeah.
Are really kind. I get along with them both. Like, and I wish nothing but the best for both of those guys for sure.
Who would you say is the craziest out of the duo?
Oh man, that's gotta be Toxinate.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd say that. Isaac's a bit mental, isn't he?
Jason's the good looking one. Nah, he also makes grotty tunes as well. They always send me stuff, like even if it's half finished. And man, that takes a lot for a producer to do that. So thank you very much, boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I mean they're smashing it in a minute.
Yeah, they're two very they're two very special people coming out of it. I'd say there's more as well. My brother DJ Limited, he already had a really substantial career on Players. Like when I was on Ram, I was on Ram Records. He was on Players, and they were kind of like we were like covering two major hubs of drum and bass.
Yeah.
Like we had a really good time with that. But but DJ Limited for sure. I think he definitely has. He's my little brother for one. He's an extremely talented artist, and like I said, after the great forgetting, where everybody just kind of forgot about everybody, it's been a case of rebuilding up for everyone, you know? So
100%.
he's one of those artists that I think he deserves his position, man. He's done really well.
Keep an eye out, people. You know what I mean? There you go. So as we're coming to the end of the podcast, I've got two more questions to ask you.
Let's go.
Of course, no day off is really a day off, but like when you're not performing, what's your favourite thing to do?
Wank, smoke weed, and play computer games. Don't include that. I'm sorry. You can maybe clip around it. No.
That.
It could be a clip just for the promo, isn't it? There's the interview. No, so I will. No. I like to lay on my back and do nothing. I know that like is one of the. But man, I look forward to that.
I mean, you said you like your cars as well.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
quite a big thing for you as well.
Massively. Like I used to. Through my career, I've bought and sold cars and had fun with that as well.
I mean, you've got a Porsche at the minute. Oh, beautiful. Right?
Yeah, Panamera, diesel Panamera. I do like it. It's a very big hit. I've had Range Rovers before that. My C63 was one of my favorites. Really enjoyed it. I had the 6.3 as well. Man, it's beautiful. But yeah, I'm hoping the whole way through my career to also be doing that as well, like just keep chopping and changing cars and, love that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good that you've got a hobby outside.
Spend a lot
besides
of
DJing as
time
well,
on
so-
Marketplace, mate.
Yeah.
Low ball.
That's where the shit is, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's great. I love a
Yeah.
bargain.
I'll give you 600 quid for it, mate. Go on.
Yeah, but it's like 2K. Sorted.
Just fucking fishing,
Yeah.
love it.
That's the best part about Marketplace.
Oh, mate.
So last question, I just want to get your general opinion on the studio. What do you think of the podcast, DJ setup we've got here?
Oh man, this is incredible. You guys have obviously put a lot of thought into what you're doing here. I could tell that when obviously you invited me down. I took a look on the pages and stuff, and I'd seen obviously other interviews you'd done as well, other podcasts and stuff, and they look great. Absolutely a wicked opportunity for people to be able to come down and talk their piece. And I hope as you get more artists down and more artists are more open to talk about stuff, you'll get more information about what people get up to behind the scenes and what they're really like, because I feel like there's been that disconnect in drum and bass for a long while, where now we've got the big glossy front end of everybody, which is, look at this rave, look at this release, look at this, da-da-da-da-da. And, now we get to see a little bit of the underbelly and talk to people about important things that maybe other people will miss on platforms.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for coming down. We really appreciate it.
Come on,
And yeah,
so much.
it's a great
Really appreciate
podcast.
it. Yeah, man. Thank you
But
very
yeah,
much.
we'll see you guys in the next episode.
This is the Studio 808 podcast. I've been Upgrade. You can follow me on Instagram at Upgrade Music Official. You can grab my snap if you dare. That's Upgrade DMB. New releases coming out. Got a release on Lowdown Deep in November. That's going to drop. And it's a collab with Master Error, actually. And obviously new music next year. I'm lining it all up. You'll see it. Give me a follow. I promise you'll see it.